Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
So I say, I will not do that. He said, okay, perfect. So you don't have the connection to go back. We don't let you go back in Montreal. We don't give you the last part of the Air Canada tickets plane. I said, okay, I'm going to rent a car and go back in town. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do my quarantine.
Today, we're bringing you the bizarre COVID quarantine story of Corrine LaFrambroise. Now, the story is bizarre because it details a woman whose career dictates that she be at peak health, fighting condition, in fact. And she had just had more than a half a dozen clear COVID tests before coming back to Canada after leaving the country to fulfill her contractual obligations. And yet, Corrine was still very nearly abducted into one of those dangerous COVID jails. And when she resisted, she and her trainer were both given thousands of dollars in COVID tickets. Corrine is just one of the hundreds of people that we at Rebel News are helping through our new civil liberties initiative, FightTheFines.com. That's the legal clinic that we created where we crowdfund the legal fees for normal people and for businesses which are being slapped with these out-of-control lockdown tickets for doing completely normal things. Things like opening their businesses in an attempt at economic survival, or going to a protest, or feeding the homeless, or going to church, or in Corrine's case here, trying to earn a living as a professional athlete at the top of her sport when she cannot compete here in Canada anymore because of all the lockdowns. Now, we'll first meet Corrine, who is a top female MMA fighter from Quebec. Then we'll meet her lawyer that we hired for her at no cost to her, Josh Halpern. And then I'm going to let you know how you can help Corrine, this top female MMA fighter, win against our so-called feminist prime minister's lockdown laws in a cage match held in a court of law. Corrine, like so many of our latest Fight the Fines clients, is living in one of the most oppressive lockdown cities on the entire continent. Yes, Montreal. It's a place where they have curfews and where they arrest journalists who report on the lockdown and on the curfews. Police have even stormed synagogues there to enforce lockdown rules. They've done it on the Sabbath. And police have brutally arrested citizens on the street for not wearing masks. And because of the lockdown, Corrine, as a professional athlete, well, she can't train the way she normally would because the gyms are closed in Quebec, and she can't compete on her home soil because the lockdown killed her sport here. Take a listen to Corrine's story.
Oh, yeah, as you said, I'm an MMA fighter and I need to go to work outside of Canada. I live in Quebec, actually, and there is no promo organization who are able to make us fight in Quebec or everything because of the lockdown. So I am on contract with UAE Warriors, an organization who's doing the show in Abu Dhabi and in Dubai. So I need to go back and forth to Abu Dhabi and Dubai, things that I did to work. And I did that. There was a show on the March 20. Me and my coach went there, passed the COVID test, because they have specific rules like by the organization and by the government in the United Arab Emirates. So we passed the COVID test before to take the plane. We take the plane, we arrive in Dubai. In Dubai, we need to pass another test before to go in Abu Dhabi. Once we are in Abu Dhabi, we are in lockdown in the hotel. We are not allowed to move or to move from the hotel. And we sign a paper for that and a form that we said that we're gonna agree with that. We had COVID tests every day over there. The result was negative every day. 48 hours before to go back in Canada, we had our negative COVID test. And I was doing my transition, Dubai, Toronto, Montreal. So Me and my coach arrived in Toronto, and they want to put us in the lockdown at the hotel for 3 days. But I had an exemption, a paper from my organization that they say that I'm an essential worker or a cross-border worker. They need me for this fight on March 20, and they need him to be in my corner. That's how it works. And so in Toronto, we arrive at la douane, or the security, with our negative test COVID. That's good, no problem. The guy who I told him that he asked me if I have the ArriveCan application, which I did. I want to agree and be to agree with that, no problem. But I checked the exempt. I want to be exempt because I have the paper from my organization that I need to go work there. I cannot work in Canada and I need to work. I cannot do that in Canada. So that it's an organization that I fought 3 times over there. So me and my coach went to talk with the L guy, the security, like the guy. And he explained to us that we need to have a reservation for the hotel. He gave us the option. So you need to have the reservation of the hotel. I said, I thought I was exempted of this because I had the paper of my organization to prove that I need to go there for work. And he said, no, I don't make the rules. The security guy who makes the rule, blah, blah, blah. So I say, I will not do that. He said, okay, perfect. So you don't have the connection to go back. We don't let you go back in Montreal. We don't give you the last part of the Air Canada tickets plane. I said, okay, I'm going to rent a car and go back in town. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do my quarantine. So he said, the option 1 is to take to call that number and take the hotel. For you, an hotel for your coach. The option 2, it's I give you a fine and the government going to send you in their hotel. Option 3, you take the fine and you need to negotiate with the police outside. So we said, no, okay. Let's take the fine. He said, okay, but if you take the fine, we're not going to give you your transit Toronto, Montreal. Okay, bon, okay. Give me the fine. So they give us a fine of $3,755 each. We decide to pass the COVID test. After that, with the fine, we go on the COVID test at the airport. Okay, no problem. I agree on that part. No problem. We rent a car and we go straight back home. So,
Corrine, this is a crazy story because the federal government makes exemptions all the time for professional athletes. As you said, your colleague who just came back from fighting in the United States, but hockey players get exempted all the time. And I think you said you had 7 COVID tests. I mean, you might be the most tested person in all of Canada. I think this is crazy. And so that's why we are going to help you fight that. I think it's $3,755 quarantine ticket. We're going to help you fight that at no cost to you. We will crowdfund your legal fee through fightthefines.com. I want you to train. I want you to just do what you do, not worry about that. Plead not guilty to that ticket, and we'll fight that ticket in court for you.
It's $3,755 for me and for my coach that I need to pay. So it's $7,000 total. It's so we are in the same situation. We have the same story. So
don't worry, we'll help you with that, and we'll help your coach too. And we'll make sure that this happens at no cost to you. There's a lot of people out there who are just so sick and tired of seeing these COVID quarantine tickets and lockdown tickets. And I think the only way that things change is when we start fighting back. So we're going to do that for you, Corrine.
That's really appreciate. And let's see how it goes.
I think it's a pretty safe bet to say that there are very few women in this entire country that are healthier or that take their health as seriously as Corrine. Being healthy and being strong, it's literally her job. It's how she earns a living. So we just knew when we heard her story that we had to help her and her trainer. I mean, how many times does this poor woman have to have a stick shoved up her nose and test negative before it's okay to quarantine at home, where it's much safer for a woman than in one of Trudeau's COVID jails? And Corrine, well, she has to eat a certain way. Her body is her livelihood. And we've all seen how they feed those poor people in the COVID jails. Yuck. So as promised, we hired Corrine a lawyer, Josh Halpern, and he joined me last week to discuss Corrine's case. Take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, Corrine is a professional MMA fighter, and she had to leave the country in order to make a living, given the restrictions here. And she wasn't going to party or join big protests. No, she was just trying to survive, trying to buy food, trying to put a roof over her head. And she was more than willing to come back to Canada and quarantine in her home. But that wasn't good enough for the government. She had to go to essentially one of these COVID prisons. The government is essentially saying, we're not going to let you work here and make a living, but keep in mind that if you try to work somewhere else and come back, you're going to have to be confined or be fined a lot of money. And this is a violation of her Section 7 right to life, liberty, and security. And of course, the right to mobility, right? The right to enter and leave Canada when she pleases. And, you know, as I said before, in order for a charter violation to be justified, there needs to be proportionality. Where is the proportionality here? A more proportional law would be saying that she needs to quarantine at home, which she was more than willing to do. She told the officers that, but that's not enough. Why? If it's in the interest of health, then why wouldn't that be enough? And this fine amount is just completely laughable also. I mean, she was fined almost $3,800, $3,800. And this is where cruel and unusual punishment comes in, which is spelled out in Section 12 of our Charter rights. We are to be free from cruel and unusual punishment. And why do punishments even exist? A central purpose of punishments is deterrence. We want to deter someone from doing something, so we have a punishment in place. Are you telling me that a $2,000 fine wouldn't properly deter someone, but a $3,800 fine would? Why $3,800? That's callous and reaches the level of cruel and unusual punishment, given that it's really serving no purpose. It's not serving the purpose of deterrence, but it's just terrorizing people.
Now, here's where you at home can offer some help to Corrine. Corrine should not be punished for just trying to earn a living and for not letting herself, as a woman, get taken into a dangerous COVID jail, especially when she's already had multiple COVID tests saying she was completely healthy and clear of the virus. But fighting Corrine's ticket will surely cost more than the ticket itself. But the cost is not the point. By fighting these lockdown tickets, we are working very hard to keep Canada just a little more free by helping one Canadian at a time fight for civil liberties while the government is desperately trying to strip more of them away from us. That, my friends, is the whole point. Now, if you'd like to help us help Corrine and the hundreds, and I'm not exaggerating, hundreds upon hundreds of other people that we are helping all across Canada, you can donate to offset their legal fees at fightthefines.com. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. If you've received a lockdown ticket, I don't want you to pay it. I want you to fight it. Plead not guilty and send your ticket to us at fightthefines.com. And if we think your case has merit, we'll put you in touch with a top criminal lawyer or litigation specialist at no cost to you. And if you've yet to receive a lockdown ticket, but you want to get involved in the fight against the lockdown, you can donate to offset the legal fees for the hundreds of people that we are helping at fightthefines.com.